Okay, it's 7:33 and we're Okay, about to start. It's 7:33 and we're Okay, about to start. It's 7:33 and all right, let's test it one more time to make sure that you can hear me without any background echo. I apologize for that technical issue. All right, so I want to start by taking a moment and clearing my mind, and hopefully, if you're driving, you can still do the same thing. Brother, Leo, I want to begin with a truth that has been burning in my bones for decades. You can build an empire. You can master your craft. You can win every room you enter. And still wake up one morning and realize you've lost yourself. That was me. Okay. You see, I had lived as a warrior. I was raised to be a warrior. I've been a warrior family from a warrior people that war against other people for hundreds of years. It's like I was made for this stuff. I grew up in a time when carrying machetes was an everyday thing. People took them to church. No different than a cane, better than a cane. Look, I've lived this warrior lifestyle for so long. I became a warrior. I have fought every battle on the streets, in the freaking ring, in business, in my own mind, and I have died 1,000 invisible deaths, and no one ever saw. That's why I created this path of 5 archetypes. You know, no different than what's it, Masumoto, who talked about the 5 rings, and um, because the path of a warrior only leads to 2 places. I won't talk about those, but let's talk about these 5 archetypes. You see, this is not a concept, but it's a map out of hell. I took notes or I lived in hell so I could one day come out and say, this is what I discovered, man. Don't make the same mistakes. Don't fall into that same hole. You know what I mean? Now watch out for them holes. They'll get you, man. Look, last week we stood in the realm of the lover, where the hearts learn to open up again, to feel without losing control and direction, right? Not like the song, I lose control. Yes, that feels good, but you can love without losing direction, without waking up one day and you're like, I have compromised so many times for her and for them and for this and for that, that I lost me. That's where a man rediscovers tenderness without weakness. It's not fake stuff like the politicians petting the dog, kissing the kid, or who knows what. Okay. That was the first week. Then came the alchemist, the turning point, right? The alchemist is the one who has learned through life and through time to grab different things and put it in his toolbox so that he can open up and fix any situation. Body, mind, and soul. The brother is ready. The turning point when chaos stops being your enemy and becomes your teacher. That's the moment a man stands to turn pain into power, survival into strategy. Pain will debilitate you, drain your energy because you're too stuck in one single frequency of anger and pain, and it saps your power. And without power, you don't care about wisdom, you don't care about knowledge. But when you take all that knowledge, instead of learning for no reason, it'll turn into wisdom because you've been walking with the elders of your tribe. It turns survival mechanisms into strategies for creating greater love. You know, and tonight we enter into the warrior inside the lover. This is the fire that either builds the empires or it'll burn them to ashes. Because the same force that can defend your family can also destroy your peace. If it is not led by love, and it's really easy nowadays to sit there and go, yeah, but you're not the Flintstones, bro. I'm just saying, there's the deeper cause. And we got to stop the blame and the shame. Look, the truth is, the warrior without a sovereign is just a soldier looking for a war. At every turn, shoot, even your shadow, if you follow what I'm saying. But when a man yields the warrior to his sovereign, out of the five archetypes, that's when the world freaking aligns. That's when he stops chasing and starts commanding. Instead of always going after something that you're hunting, okay, you start commanding and things begin to manifest in front of you. That's when manifestation becomes natural law. You're no longer fighting, you're no longer forcing. And when I'm telling you this, it's because it's from experience. You keep hearing people say, anybody who claims to have attained, perfection, anybody who's claimed to reach a certain level, they're lying to you. So a thing can be too good to be true, but it can't be too bad to be a lie. Or to flip it around, if it's bad, it's believable. If it's good, doubt it. I'm telling you, man, you can reach the place where you're in harmony with yourself and peace, where you're always disciplined and you're always orderly. You know why? Without being an asshole? It's because you have finally found the source. Okay. You found the source because you stopped chasing. That's perfect harmony, bro. Look, just this past weekend, I spent 4 hours alone in nature. Oh my God, you should see all the pictures I took. I just kept dumping them this morning, cleaning it up and trying to, not really edit, but just the things that were like didn't make any sense, or I just threw them away. Anyways, really good stuff. Okay. See, I spend time in nature with purpose, with breath, with the five archetypes alive inside of me. And I watch life itself speak back to me through what I was doing. On a kayak for 4 hours in the water. I went through a pond and not a pond, but a very shallow, so shallow that it's probably like underneath my kayak about that much before your foot gets into this muddy stuff. You can't go in there. That's like quicksand. You won't get out. I'm not going in there. And it's stinky if you mess up with the mud. Look, and then it breaks out into this beautiful river. And oh my God, you should really do need to see it. You have to ask me for my website. I'll share it with you. Okay, let me get back to what I'm trying to say. Why do I say with breath? Why do I say that life was speaking back to me? Because every wind, every sound, every thought was in perfect harmony. That's the pleasure of manifestation. That's what it means to live like a sovereign. Whew. Not controlling the world. It's a fallacy. But watching it move for you, that's a reality. I have 4 hours of content to share, but let me tell you what, it would take a long time to disseminate what those 4 hours were packed. It's what it does to your brain, what it grounds your body, and in 4 hours alone, with purpose, with thought, with an intent to write, with an intent to completely be present in a moment for as long as the moment needed to last. Mine needed to last 4 hours. And when I came out of the water, I was surprised with a brand new stranger from some kind of country. I don't know what country, it didn't matter. It was dark and we stood there and we shared a moment. And for those of you that are warriors, you know, when somebody has been in the same field because you can feel that frequency from them. And we stood there, not a whole lot of conversation, but we smoked cigarettes in the quiet peace of the night as two men holding our space without much need to say things. And we talked about trees, we talked about the water, we talked about names, we talked about places, and we talked about our cultures, how much similar they were. That brings up so many pieces of content that I can share. I'm not telling you for any other reason to let you know if you want the world to speak back to you, if you want to stop feeling like you're out of control because you're trying to control the world, begin to watch the world move for you by observing when you hold perfect harmony in your life. That's what I'm telling you. So tonight, we walk into the arena together. The warrior in you will recognize the call, but it's the lover in you that will make sure that you never lose yourself again. So let's begin. You see, this is where I grab you by the amygdala, right? Your chest tightens and your shoulders, they just begin to swell, and you get the feeling like a predator, right? And you can feel that ancient surge of testosterone flowing through your body. It just begins to warm your whole inside, right? Mm. As my heart beats, I can feel the motherland calling. Boom, bop, bop, boom, boom, boom. Hear the voices, the man singing in a circle, and the drummer back, violently smacking that leather as the dancer comes in. And she begins to dance to the rhythm of the drum. But then something happens, and the drum begins to dance and sound to the rhythm of her feet. And a conversation begins. And this is my Puerto Rico. This is the time that I grew up in this place. When I walk among the warriors, I've been honored to be a participant among the Native Americans and to be a part of that grand opening. And you can feel them drums just pounding, boom, and it goes into your heart, and you can feel it down your feet, and your veins begin to pop, and you're like, oh, and all you're doing is just boom, and they're playing, and that rhythm gets inside of you, and you become one with the people as you move. Okay, to stand among the men who carried machetes all the time. And when they were having a conversation or they were going to play a game, they would just take him into the ground, have their conversations, play the game, drink the beer, grab it, and then walk away. And if you see a machete parked right next to something, you don't touch it. It has an owner. It's just in the earth for the moment while we're socializing. All of that happened to me when I was a boy. It's a different world. I'm not telling you of experiences that I've watched on cartoons and TV and movies that people talk about. Oh, I've lived them. I still live them. I've had the pleasure of not only being a professional boxer, but being a commentator for boxing. And you know, I'm tell you what, living among the Mohicans has been a phenomenal experience. I'm so blessed. Now, I did that too as a grown up. But you see, I used to pray as a little boy for an epic battle. I, I wanted to be a superhero. And I had my little Jesus statue, right? And I would pray as a good Spanish boy. And I would tell him that I want a brother. And he gives me five sisters. Now, just playing around, okay? He didn't give me anything like that. But I do have five sisters. See, something happened. And on the way to becoming that, I just didn't realize I had already become the very thing I was looking for. I couldn't see it because the warrior had taken over the lover. But that realization didn't make me proud. It broke me open. It released me to be divine. And when a man becomes divine, people feel it. Men respect it. Women soften near him. Even those who dislike it can't deny the light. Even in their anger, they will not deny the light. They can't. And they don't serve no devils. They are divine, man. And that's what I learned. The warrior inside of me once wanted to kill me. And if a warrior inside of me wanted to kill me, let me give you a quick explanation. Because I was so duty bound and I needed to make money and I was broke and I needed to overcome my perception of performance, I pushed my body till 10 feet. It was so excruciatingly hard. One night in the freaking middle of nowhere in Wisconsin, a tiny little hotel, there was one other client and they had already been asleep for a while because I got there at like at 10 and I had to be up at freaking early in the morning again. I became so sick. I had the key to get in the room and there was a hallway, one door and my bedroom, right? Let me tell you, I breathed so hard to take 10 steps. I had to breathe every step. And the warrior in me just kept pushing. I didn't know if I was going to get up that morning, but if I did feel in any way, shape, or form sick, I was going to call the emergency room. I was my own boss and I was treating myself this way. This is what you need to understand. I'm a contractor. Nobody was doing this to me. My sense of duty of being a warrior was doing that to me. I was killing myself. I managed to grab a pillow Didn't take my clothes off, just my shoes. I rolled in the tub, turned it on, filled it up, and fell asleep in the hottest water I could manage to be in. I stayed there and woke up feeling much better. And I didn't die. Well, I did die, but I just came back alive differently. So I got to thinking, if the warrior in me wants to kill me, how could I ever hold grudge against another man, against another woman who is trying to kill me? They're only reciprocating the energy that's deep inside of me when that thing is out of control. When that warrior was out of control inside of me, even if it didn't show, it's this energy signature that's calling for death. Until you bring that into harmony, it'll always get you into trouble. Who was only doing what they felt my energy signature was saying. I hope you get what I just said. If not, play it back and try to figure it out, whatever. Leave me know. Moving on. Shoot. Gotta laugh at those moments of pain. Look, that's when I understood I wasn't being punished by life. No. No, sir. I wasn't. I was broadcasting the same message. Somebody please take me out. And that's the moment I saw that. That what was the moment I began to heal right there at that spot. Because it was a switch. I understood affinity. The attraction of affinity is what rules my life, and it's what's ruling yours. But affinity can be tuned. That's what it means in its original language, right? Afinar is to tune something. Affinity comes from there. Um, did you catch that? That one's free. Okay. I was broadcasting the same message, and that's why that message was returning back to me. Whew. Brother, that's called echolocation, if you know what I mean. When I became a beautiful man to myself, that was a glorious moment. When I became a sovereign, that was a divine encounter. First contact of the first kind. Do you follow what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say to you is, while I was a warrior, I was in self-hatred. When I didn't control my own desires, and I don't mean control them by restricting them, but controlling them by giving them life through me. Look, man, maybe this resonates with you, because healing your life is your responsibility, not mine. No one owes you that. You need to get that clear. No one owes you that. And you don't owe it to no one else. You don't owe it to no one else, okay? But you see, I took the long road to get to what I just told you. It took me 25 years of false starts, false worrying, loneliness, excuses. You ever heard what they say about excuses? Number one, they're like assholes. Everybody has one and they all stink. Okay. There's another saying, but I'm going to save it for the next week. But what I found is that on the other side of taking responsibility over the dirtiest, ugliest moments that you may have ever had, the warrior will take you down the path of self-hatred. Self-hatred will take you. So first of all, you start with shame, with blame, right? With resentment. And that piles up until you think that you can't stand it no more. So you begin self-sabotage to somehow punish yourself, to prove yourself that you're worthy of the quest. But that leads you to self-hatred. And then you begin the process of killing yourself. You eat things that don't help you, and you know it. But need to tell you what's right. You already have that beacon inside of you because you're right inside of you. Inside of you, you're right. Deep inside, you're glorious. And I'm going to prove you that all the way through these conversations. Let me get back on track here. You see, there's only two kinds of doubt. The doubt of existence, who I am, and the doubt of performance. Can I do this? One feeds the other. This week, we're going to separate them, okay? Because when the warrior becomes a sacred tool in the hands of the highest intelligence, he no longer destroys himself. He defends creation. But before we go there, I want to talk to you about pain, real pain. Because when the warrior meets the lover out of balance, that's where the problem begins. Like two bad kids that should not be together. You ever had that? I'm sure this wasn't new, but where your mother says to you, you know what? You shouldn't hang around with Pepito because he's a bad influence on you. Why do you think they say that? Because they've known you before and they see the changes, but you don't see it. Because you like Pepito, because you have an imbalance inside of you. So pick when you want to be. You want to be the warrior, you want to be the lover. Both of them have issues. And in this case, they both have a distortion on one side or the other. And for those of you that have not been here from the beginning through up to now, think of it like a coin, right? Like a balance machine, just a disc with 2 points, and they're very sensitive. And so with one on one side is decay and drainage, and the other one is excess and explosiveness, right? But when it's in harmony, it levels. Think of it like a ball of Sephiroth. So one energy, the archetype is going to be the warrior, the other one is going to be the lover. Here we go. Ready? Put on your glasses, lock in your safety belt, and let's go. Let's get going. When the lover is in excess and the warrior is in lack, right? And off balance, not in harmony, he turns bitter, angry, often toward women. He can only relate to them through lust, through transaction, through control, right? You do it because I said so, because I'm the one that brings in the money here, that kind of thing. Don't get me wrong, women have their issues, but I'm not talking to them. Whoa, man, I'm talking to you, to me. I'm in my lane. That's what I'm saying. But when both are in excess, he becomes destructive, abusive, dominant. He mistakes control for power. And when both are in lack, he becomes soft, uncertain, the nice guy who lost his edge. He's that Ahab that the Bible talks about. He's the yes, honey, Whatever you say, ma'am. Okay. He'll say yes to his boss. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, I'll do it. Yep. Yep. Not no, not my job. I'm not gonna do what you're asking me to do, right? Don't have that. Disconnected from his own command center. Yeah. One is disconnected in a really bad, negative way where everybody's walking all over him and he's a terrible example of what a man should be. And the other one is a terrible example of man he is not because he's trying to front what he isn't. But when the lover and the warrior are in harmony, I'll tell you what happens. All of a sudden, things just get wet all over around you. You know what I mean? She melts when you speak her name. Mm-hmm. Mira, mami, que te quiero hacer una pre. Yeah, she's like, oh, you got me a mommy. Okay, that's what she would say. Yeah, his presence fills a room before he says a word. You've heard it said, some people, all people turn the light on either when they come into a room or when they leave that room. So which one are you? Hmm? Mm. Even space itself will move aside for him to walk through. You ever been that energetic where you can just you're walking and even you can feel it. People that are not even looking at you, they feel that current of energy that flows through you. He no longer is asking permission. He just simply is. See, that's the magic that we call alignment. Everything's on level and everything is harmonizing with one another. And that's the secret of the scroll of self-ownership. Did you hear what I said? That's the secret of the scroll of self-ownership. And that's why we're here to unlock. Take a deep breath. Because this is not theory, this is your initiation. The warrior meets the lover, and then the sovereign is born at that moment. So this is a moment where I'm going to walk you through I just got to move because I've been sitting for a while. Look, I'm going to walk you through a breathing exercise. And if you're in your car, find a place, pull over. It's worth a try, okay? And this is a really crucial part of the session. I hope that you take the time to follow what I'm telling you. All right. So the initiation of this process is basically you following my voice and staying still in your body. Before I actually do this with you, I want to tell you that you perhaps have heard it being said, because the reality is, who has not heard a self-help instruction somewhere along the line, right? I know we've all heard it. We hear it all the time. Okay, but there's got to be a purpose behind it. Now that you can connect the dots in between the warrior, and if you're disconnected from your warrior and you're out of balance in between that relationship, like I explained it, then this might help you. And without further ado, here we go. It will not take you forever, just a few minutes. Take a real deep breath and hold it. And then take a little bit more until you can't hold it no more. And then you let it all out nice and slow. And just breathe normally, but feel that energy. That's kind of cool how the shadow looks on my shirt. Almost looks like there's another strong man standing behind me. Let's absorb that energy into your body. Take a deep breath and let it out. Now, in the next breath, close your eyes and take a deep breath and hold it at the top. And as you close your eyes, keep breathing deeply from bottom to top and just breathe out. So pause at the top and then you're going to pause at the bottom of the exhaust. And at the very bottom, pause for a second, take another breath, nice and slow, and just keep doing that as I speak this little story. Keep your eyes closed, and as you breathe, feel your body. Feel how the shirt moves with every breath that you take. Feel how your belly fills in. Feel that movement of the shirt against your skin as you breathe. And with every breath, just relax a little bit more into that seat. And just kind of drop in, relax your body. As you take a deep breath, let your chest rise, let your head come up. But as you breathe out, relax your shoulders, relax your head, let it all just kind of swing like you're in the ocean, up and down at the rhythm of your breath. And just keep that breath, okay? And as you have your eyes closed and you concentrate on your body and the movement, and you can feel the skin rubbing against the cloth of your clothing, and you can feel the weightiness of your butt on the seat, knees relaxed, and your feet, you feel a little bit of tension on them. Just breathe through it and breathe all the way down into your feet. And as you breathe in, let your feet, your knees, and your skin breathe with you in unison as one. Feel the slight tingling sensation that you might experience in one of your extremities, whether it's exposed skin or your hands begin to feel a tingling sensation, just like your knees might feel it. Just breathe, all right? And you're the horse, and you're standing in the field, and you're eating. And all of a sudden, you pick up your head and you look, and you see a human really tiny, 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 far away. You can barely see over the top of the grass. You can see it only because that human is standing on a little bit of a loam. And so you put your head down to eat again. And you pick up your head because You think you heard some noise. Now you're hypersensitive horse. And when you see it, you go, it's a human. And you take off running at full gallop. Brah, 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 brah. And you just full of the joy of stretching every part of your body and skin, and you can feel your skin just stretching as you're kicking your legs back and forward in the middle of the air so you can grab more ground and push yourself, and like you're trying to just with every time that you touch the ground you're trying to push yourself to fly across the air, and you're not frustrated but you hit it every time even harder. Wham! And you are going so fast and you're approaching that human and you're like, I'm just gonna run them over. I can't stop. This is too much fun. Forget it. And something inside of you, of an unknown force, causes you to stop, to turn sideways and just pause. And as you breathe, you can see the billowing steam coming out your nose. And you can feel the earth crawling through your skin as your veins pop with vascularity and the sweat begins to create droplets on your body. And that human experienced fear. They experience pleasure. They experience awe. They experience magnificence. And all you did as a horse was simply be a horse, to eat, to run, and to chill out. You see, you felt the power of all of that. And the human experienced it without having to touch you, without riding you. This is the power when a warrior meets the lover and the archetypes become harmonious with one another. And if you can feel that space in between that horse that you were in that vision and that human that was standing there, then you can feel for the first time what it feels like to have balance in between the beast side of you and the lover side of you, because that's humane. And you are both the human observer and the human doer, the animalistic part. But when you come together, you don't become a horseman. You don't become a cowboy. You don't become a caballero. You don't become a gentleman. You become more like the sovereign that you are always designed to be. And there's 5 of these archetypes, and we just talked about 2. That leaves us with 3 that we still need to investigate and involve. And so we've already covered, this is week 3 of all these sessions. And with that being said, we talked a little bit about it in the beginning. You have any questions about this? You know what to do. It's 2025. Nobody needs to tell you. You know what to do. Go ahead and make it happen. If that's what you want. So my name is Avigdor Moshe Ben Brito, also known as Hector Brito, Papote, just Brito. Look, who I am is, I think, almost inconsequential to the message. And after being paralyzed from the neck down, it took me 4 years to recover. And it took me 25 years to get my head right, because it took me 4 years to fix the body. But it took me 21 years to get the emotion and the heart right, in right order. And that's where all this stuff comes from. Comes from that place, from the place of pain that got transmuted into something beautiful. Done for tonight. I think no, I didn't. Yeah, let's see. I didn't go too far. Thought I was going to be 45, but hey, I hope you liked it. And if you did, let me know. Follow, you know what to do. All right. We'll catch you later. Bye. Arrivederci over there.